basically trying to send a message, coded message, as the Kieleweke side of Jubilee, that you're trying to tell us this BBI, by the way, let's just think about it and let's not take it to the referendum. Or even if we take it to the referendum, let's not spend so much effort on it. Or even if we spend effort on it and it flops, just be warned that you see the people are not really feeling this vibe. That this is a way of sending a message to Raila Odinga that we are not 100% with you on this referendum push. Schools of thought. People like now Raphael Tuju, who is, of course, the Secretary General of Jubilee, who will look at it from that point of instead of addressing the issue, like, no, but who told him to do a survey? What kind of survey did he do? How scientific was it? I want to see all that data. You see? So the question that then emerges out of this is, first of all, this leak, was it a deliberate leak? And if it was a deliberate leak, was it a deliberate leak to apply pressure on the president to actually take action and take hold of the campaign for BBI in central Kenya, as had been advised by Irungu Kang'ata in his letter? Or was it a leak to apply pressure on both the president and his brother Raila to do something different in how they approach the campaigns? Or was it a leak to send a coded message?
Whether it was any of those or all of those, and then some which we haven't even mentioned, it was a good leak. Anything that forces the sort of issues you've posed to come out and subject to debate are good for the country. And I'm going to explain why I'm saying it's good for the country. Because, remember, this alliance between the former Right Honorable Raila Odinga and no, Raila Odinga is not former. It's the position of Prime Minister which is former. And President Uhuru Kenyatta, in many, many ways, it has been an uneasy relationship. Uneasy in the sense that even within their own parties, there are people who have not been for it. Again, lived experience, former experiences, and even not just former experiences. If you look at Jubilee, Jubilee itself has always had this, from day one, the handshake had issues. Sides were taken clearly. Now, all we're seeing is the lived experience creeping into this letter of Kang'ata's and bringing up those discussions that had previously been there and throwing us into a little tailspin and taking us even back into history when certain things have been said, promises have been made, and have evidently not been kept. So when you hear politicians speaking, it is from their point of view. Mr. Kaluma is an MP in Homa Bay County. He's looking at this and he belongs to ODM. He's saying, but we've seen this before.
These are games.
We've seen this before.
It's a script.
It starts like this. Somebody else is saying, but wait a moment. This is clearly a Tanga script. Those are politicians speaking. I wouldn't take what they are saying lightly. You know why? If they hold those views, other people also hold those views. And if you ask them, there are very sound reasons for having them. But truly and honestly, political alliances are not things which are new to this country. We've had the most likely or unlikely of alliances. Who would have thought that someone who was in KADU would eventually be head of a KANU and president of the country? Who would have thought? If we were to take lessons from hindsight, who would have thought? Yet it happened. Who would have thought that one Raila Odinga would leave his party, it was NDP, I believe, at that particular point, join KANU? Who would have thought?
And become its Secretary General.
It was unthinkable. If you're talking about things which are unthinkable, that was one of the unthinkables, because the lived experience was the man had suffered under President Moi.
Be that as it may, CT.
Yes.
One fact here is, if we go by Irungu Kang'ata's tweet, all right, because this is proper Twitter handle. He tweets a lot from this particular handle. This is at Honorable Kang'ata on Twitter. And he comes out and says, that letter, by the way, is authentic. The leakage is where the problem is. So there's a letter that he is expressing his opinion in his capacity as a leader to the party leader. Then there is the leakage of this particular one, where this is where now the political games start coming in. And there is Irungu Kang'ata coming out to say, the letter is authentic. I'm just hoping that what I've raised can at least be acted upon. And the games that are being read in this, especially by those in Tanga, those in Kieleweke, those in Handshake, And they're looking at it and wondering, each of them has their own interpretation. Kaluma and his colleagues are looking at it and thinking, you're starting to play us. Those in Tangatanga are looking at it and saying, it's starting to unravel within those guys. Those in Kieleweke, some of them may be thinking, amesema ukweli. And then they're saying, but you see, we can't tell them that. The danger of playing such games with such a matter in such a manner is what I have a bit of an issue with. What is it likely to do? What is it likely to lead? Let's take a couple of hypotheses here. Hypothesis number one is that this was a very well calculated political messaging campaign. Irungu Kangata is just a tool, but it's not his own sole message. It's a message of Irungu Kangata and others who are trying to say something about BBI. Okay? One. The other one, let's assume Irungu Kangata actually sat down and he listened and he has had various other leaders, some of them of whom he quotes in his own letter. And they have told him, this thing, by the way, this is how it's going. And he has decided, to just take the bull by the horns and address this matter. And then it leaks. What does that leakage, what does that communication, because this is political communication, what does that political communication actually do to the country?
Actually, Eric, my view, this is a good thing.
How?
I explained it. Perhaps let me make my statements briefly. Number one, it has unearthed discussions that ordinarily people wouldn't undertake because of the way we play our politics. Two, when you talk about alliances, you talk about the glue that holds them together. It appears that any alliance and any setup we have in the political, there isn't much difference. It's all an understanding of mistrust. But we are in this together because I mistrust you and you mistrust me equally, but we understand each other. But it is not said in the public domain. Okay. This letter says things which should not be said in the public domain. That's number one. Number two, there's an issue is raised here about the president's personal intervention and personal involvement. All right? The president isn't as visible as his deputy in the sense that he doesn't go around all over the place. The word Tangatanga came to mind. He doesn't. All right? However, when you have an alliance such as the one that the handshake has brought about, Eric, these are early days yet. This is an evolving process. And a lot of what I am seeing, this is point number 3, is jostling among politicians. Because what the BBI has also done is introduced something that requires even more discussion and more jostling than anything that we had before. You think an MP wants to become an MP and is happy to be an MP? No. They want to be something else.
That's something bigger.
And now with BBI, they had the opportunity for being senator, perhaps dream of being governor. But now they have the option
MP and be a minister.
MP and be a minister or be
Deputy
one of the
prime ministers.
Precisely. So if you are a sound thinking politician, what do? You start the game early.
You start playing games.
Early.
So the question then that I want to ask you and I want to ask our audience this morning is, do you think this was an accidental leak? Or do you think it was a well-calculated leak of this communication?
Would the phrase accidental, deliberately accidental make sense?
Deliberately accidental?
Yes.
So well-calculated?
Yes.
It was a calculated leak?
Yes. Maybe not by one Mheshimiwa Irungu Kangata, but somebody who received it, saw it as an opportunity, or the opportunity had presented itself before, and what we are witnessing is choreography.
So this person who leaked it without the knowledge of Irungu Kangata, they wanted to do what? Upstage him?
No. Simply...
Or they agreed with him and they were like, watch out, people need to know
throw the cat
this.
among the pigeons.
People need to know this.
You see, once it is associated with Irungu Kangata, it stays connected. I don't think Irungu Kangata has stopped his political ambitions, but it stays. It's a reference point that he can always go to and say, I am the one who actually...
You see, I'm the one who advised.
Yes, when you people who are busy running around looking for tails to put between your legs, I stood out and I said and spoke and bore the brunt of it. It's a reference point. And with time, you can twist it and turn it as you see fit.
So then Irungu then has motive for leaking this letter.
As things stand, being a politician, he does, but not he himself leaking it. That's what I'm saying. It could be choreographed. Again, it could be really genuinely accidental in that he called his 10 best friends and told them about this and then sent them. And one of his 10 best friends
Called it his own 10 best.
10 best friends and also swore them to secrecy and gave them. And you can see how many people were sworn to secrecy. As if you go just along the, yes. And the multiplication effects took place, and lo and behold, it's in the public domain.
Where we are now.
Yes.
Political games being played by politicians.
Yes.
And then they go ahead and occupy our whole conversations.
But this is the problem with lived experience from our politicians. We are more likely to disbelieve what we hear and what we are told and to think of alternative and ulterior motives rather than just believing that it is true, a genuine mistake was made, someone did what they're not supposed to do. When it comes from a politician, our knee-jerk reaction is, what on earth are these people trying to do here? What stunt are they pulling? That is what our lived experience has taught us.
What is it likely to do to,
This one.
especially the handshake coalition
Not much.
and the push for BBI?
It won't change anything fundamental.
So they will not even listen to what he's advising them to do.
Oh, they will listen, but they will
Will
not
they act?
necessarily indicate that they are listening. They will act. But remember, as I said earlier on in the show, the president has other means of gathering information, which in many ways will be extremely accurate. And he gets a briefing about these findings on a daily basis, so he knows. If indeed what was contained in the letter is true, he knows, and if it has been happening, it didn't happen when the letter came out, it's been happening before, and he has known about it, and he knows why he has been doing what he's been doing.
So if we just take, then we just do the same thing, extrapolate. This is what the one leader in Mount Kenya and others who have said, yeah, this is the truth, is saying about the feelings of the BBI in this particular region of the country. Can we say that there are other parts of the country that would share the same feeling?
Yes, there are always pockets of
To a
people
high
yes.
number, such as 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10, a majority who would be saying, no, BBI here, no.
You know, the BBI is a hydra in this sense. Huh? You look at the BBI, and what you bring into the discussion is not the process itself. You bring the process in, but more significantly, you bring the players. Anyone who has had a beef, an axe to grind with the Right Honorable Raila, this is the opportunity. How dare he? Can he not see the situation the country is in? What do we mean? They are just amassing powers for themselves. And this is helped more by those who keep throwing stones at it with all the anecdotes. Those who blame the president for certain economic misfortunes in their region and the country, opportunity. Instead of solving our problems, here they are now creating something else to eat more. So, these narratives don't stop, by the way. So, the BBI at some point is just a word, but the individuals who are the principals are at the center of discussion. It's their hand that is being questioned. So, everything that any angst that someone has had, throw it at the BBI.
And it comes in.
Oh, yes, it does come in. It does come in. And there are people right around the country who will resonate. For instance, if you have a governor who you feel was supported by, say, the Deputy President Ruto, and you don't like the president, that particular representative, you will blame the Deputy President. If you know this was someone who was supported by the president, and see, it doesn't seem to serve you well, you will blame the president. If you thought the Right Honorable Raila had actually supported this individual or this governor, and you really don't like the person, you'll say, he's the one who gave us this person. It's how we interpret our political activities and processes.
Coming up to 9:30, so join the conversation now. Spice FM KE on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, or you can call us 0719 012 600. That's 0719 012 600. What do you make of this advice from Irungu Kangata, the senator from Murang'a, to the president about the BBI and its prospects in Mount Kenya? And also the subsequent leakage of this particular letter to him. Was it a calculated leak? Was it an accidental leak? Is what Irungu Kangata is saying really the situation on the ground in Mount Kenya or in other parts of the country? Would you say that the BBI is so unpopular such that out of every 10 people, at least 8 would not vote for the BBI? Only 2 would expressly vote for the BBI. Is it headed for such kind of a defeat in a referendum? 9:30. Join the conversation. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Spice up your life. Spice FM.
It's getting hot in here.
Oh, everybody steals. It's better a thief who brings something small back. And I say to myself, there's no better thief. A thief is a thief, period.
All those bribes, how much they are getting per year, how much inconvenience they are causing. As much as you call it a small case, it's worth it to be convicted.
The truth is, we are a tribal nation. Because if we were not tribal, and I want to go back to this, you cannot continue walking around with a mug which is clean outside and it's rotten inside.
We have become a fuliza country. We have mortgaged our country because of debt.
You've got one chef working and the assistant chef wakati anatakana koroge unga nini hayuko.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with Spice FM.
So it's overcast in Nairobi this morning. Partly sunny day. Expect that. Currently, on some parts of Nairobi, it's actually pretty cold. 18 degrees. As long as you find it is 18, you feel that it's cold. 18 is going to rise to about 26 degrees later in the day. Nakuru is currently sunny at 19, going to rise to 26. Nyeri is mostly cloudy, highs of 25. Eldoret is 16, highs of 24. Kisumu 23, highs of 28. It's mostly sunny. Kakamega partly sunny, highs of 30 later on today. It was still experiencing some light showers in Mombasa. It's going to rise to 31 later in the day. Malindi was raining early in the morning. It's now partly sunny. 28 is going to be the high. Kampala, Uganda, mostly sunny day at 26. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, mostly cloudy day at 31. And Johannesburg in South Africa, mostly sunny day at 25. In West Africa, Lagos, Nigeria, light rain at 32. Kinshasa, mostly sunny at 31. In Paris, France, light rains and snow at 3 degrees. That's a high. Highs of 4 degrees as well in London. Highs of 4 degrees and cloudy day in New York. In Beijing, China, it's now starting to cool down a little bit. It was -3. It's now -2. It's going to drop to -14 later tonight. That kind of weather, I don't even know. I can't even imagine.
They are smart, they are funny, and unfailingly entertaining. They are the adults in the room, and they are here to help you be the best adult you can be.
Just to be very honest with each other here. Not all of us are going to get tall, dark, and handsome. Not all of us are going to get 0.5s or chotaras. Some of us have to learn the short guys. Some of us have to learn those pot belly people. Some of us have to learn older men or younger men.
Spice.
Don't ask your partner if he or she enjoyed it. I think the approach should always be, if she's enjoyed the journey, she will let you know. She'll tell you, hey, maze, your bus is big. Mi sijaipanda basi kubwa kama hii. Juu hata hii basi, hiyo mafuta tulieka yote, imetuleta hapa vizuri. Hii basi iko na nguvu. Hii basi iko na nguvu.
Spice.
Now into a relationship, it becomes like you've stopped your life, and then now me, I am your life. You see, like, what happened to your life? What happened to you? What did you used to do?
And women are guilty about that. No,
Is your wife listening to the show?
Whether it is matters of the heart, finances, or work that's weighing on your mind, worry not. The adults in the room will help you stay winning.
Where are you? Let's know how bad it's looking. So the roads earlier this morning were a bit heavy, but now traffic is actually starting to ease up. But remember, we have constructions on Mombasa Road from JKIA going all the way to Limuru. One part is the elevated highway expressway from JKIA to the ABC place, and the contractors are on the ground. They are creating barriers and some diversions every new day, and also reducing the number of lanes as they continue with their work. So be careful. And then after ABC place going all the way to Limuru, this contractor who's been on the ground there for a while, who's also working on the road going towards Limuru and trying to pave it up and extend the dual carriageway. So those as well are creating some issues. Other parts, Thika Road into town has improved, Kiambu Road has improved, Mombasa Road moving smoothly until you get to those areas that I've just talked about. Jogoo Road is moving smoothly. Gong Road is also not looking so bad. But if there's anything that you'd like us to report to other people, for example, an accident, motorist misbehaving, please let us know and we'll tell everybody else. Spice FM KE is our Twitter handle.
spice up your life. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself.
So we're taking your calls now, 0719-012-600. Also, leaving you messages on social media. What do you make of Senator Irungu Kang'ata's letter to the president, leader of Jubilee, saying that if a vote were to be held today, in his opinion, in his considered opinion, BBI would flop in Mount Kenya? Shurage Mwai says the Central Kenya politicians are in one voice and the Kang'ata's letter is the beginning of their 2022 journey. Ruto and Raila need to keep their eyes and ears open about what's happening on the ground. Okay? This is what he's saying. Ruto and Raila need to keep their eyes and ears open. What do you make of this? 0719-012-600. That's what we are asking. Also, other parts of the country, not just Mount Kenya. Do you think what Irungu Kang'ata is saying holds some truth? Do you think this is a message, a coded message by some sections of politicians to some sections of other politicians? Benson in Mombasa, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today, Benson? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm Benson Panyako from Mombasa.
Right.
Yes. Kulingana na mimi, I think Kang'ata anasema ile ukweli wenye uko kwa ground. So sioni ile yenye anakashifiwa bure, lakini kulingana na mimi na mwananchi wa chini, BBI hakuna mahali inaenda. Na Kang'ata anasema ukweli, wacha Murang'a. Hata ukiingia Mombasa, ukiingia wapi, all over Kenya. BBI hakuna mahali itaenda. Na hiyo ndio ukweli wa mambo.
Hapo ndio ukweli wa mambo. So Kang'ata yeye mwenyewe anaambia raisi that if the president were to take direct action, if the president went on the ground campaigning or reorganize the campaign teams, then maybe people might see the benefits of BBI. Is that likely, in your opinion, Benson?
I don't think. I don't think so. Manake mwananchi wa Kenya amechoka. Hii katiba yenye tuko nayo mimi naona iko sawa. Na kama kubadilisha wangebadilisha vitu vidogo vidogo. President hata aje kwa ground, sidhani kama itafanyika vile yeye anafikiria. Mwananchi wamechoka. Yes. Tax tumepandishiwa saa hii. Wewe unafikiri hata mimi nitaunga tax nipandishiwe saa hii? Siwezi. Mwananchi amechoka.
Asante. Thank you, Benson.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Tijin in Utawala, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today, Tijin? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm fine.
Yeah, what do you make of Senator Kang'ata's statement?
Yeah, first, I'm a party leader of a new political party called Accountability and Transparency Party.
Accountability and Transparency Party.
Yes.
And
as a young person, I'll say the reality is that you see the government and the people, those are two different things. The BBI initiative was from the political class, not from the people. And the effort from the political class to make this BBI process with the people initiative is missing. And that's why the people are going through the hard situation now. You see the life is tough, there's strike all over for health workers, life is getting tough for people. So even people who can get out of their work and go vote will be very low. And majority might even go vote no to that BBI because they are feeling like this is another burden to us, you see. The political class is losing the time with the people and they are not addressing the people need while they are only addressing the political class. So Kang'ata as a politician still belongs to the same political class. And whatever he's trying to send a message, he's sending a message to his fellow political class that actually what on the ground the people are not together with the BBI process.
So you're saying Kang'ata is a leader who has, one of the leaders in the political class who has seen the signs and read the signs.
Yeah, he's trying to read the signs, what the people are feeling.
Okay.
And he's sending a warning to his fellow political class that really if you go the same direction, we might lose it.
Thank you, Trijin.
Okay.
Have a good day. Victor in Eldoret, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today? Happy New Year, Victor.
Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. About this Kang'ata thing, I think he was. I think he did it accidentally on purpose.
Why do you say that?
Because this thing isn't. I think it is like so serious. It is not. I think it wasn't mishandled or just released accidentally. This thing, I think it was really calculated. And I think he's trying to find a way of telling his boss, and this is just the truth on the ground, and maybe he's just trying to, kupunguza hiyo embarrassment which might happen if they are beaten on the ground, especially from his boss's backyard,
So do you think, who do you think then accidentally, purposely leaked this particular one?
Well, of course, it is calculated. So they know. I think they are the ones who know. They won't really reveal it. Yeah, but I think this thing was just planned from the beginning. It wasn't really accidental, as it looks like.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Paul in Sondu, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Happy New Year, Paul.
Happy New Year.
What do you make of Senator Kangata's leakage?
I support him, and I think it was purposely done to send a message.
To who?
Actually, to those behind the BBI. The people pushing it, actually, are mostly on the side of the ODM. And then most of the things in the BBI are meant to benefit the political class, not the common people. And I think the BBI was brought about to help push the handshake. And now that we are nearing 2022, they've started sending signals that actually this partnership may flop.
So the handshake has outlived its purpose.
It's outlived its purpose.
And
BBI is total crap.
Wow. So in your opinion, then, what you're saying, Paul, is because this letter was written to the president, let's assume that the president actually did receive the letter. The letter was also sent to the Secretary General of Jubilee. The letter was also sent to the national leadership of Jubilee. So they received the letter. So the leakage was to send a message to the other side, and this is the ODM leaders who are pushing the same.
Yes, it's actually something that was done purposely, because I don't see how that would leak, because that's confidential communication. So if it was leaked, it was done purposely.
It's true, it's confidential, but usually for something to be confidential, it means you haven't just kept it to yourself. There's maybe one other person at a minimum that you've shared it with.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if I write a will, it's confidential, but my lawyer knows about the will, and as does maybe one of his assistants. The confidentiality is in that they know how to keep it to themselves, and they know that they cannot broadcast it and put it in the public domain. That's what makes it confidential.
Yes.
So,
but there are people within the people. Okay, the people that this particular letter was copied to.
Yes.
Actually, some of them are not proponents of the BBI. They are there to play their political part, but they're not supporting it.
So they are the Comerera that
so that's why it was leaked.
Was talking about.
Yeah, it was leaked to send a signal that this is what's on the ground.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Have a good day.
You too. 0719-012-600 or Spice FM KE on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Slims Koinange says, guys, I think this is a reality on the ground. What Irungu Kangata was saying is actually the reality on the ground. So he wasn't fabricating information. He was basically speaking what he has read rightly on the ground, and this is exactly what's happening.
Allow me to throw the cat among the pigeons. Remember, we had this discussion with Infotrack.
Yep.
The lady who...
Angela Ambito.
Yes.
The CEO.
Yes. And we asked questions that relate to what we're now asking, but this was about the opinions that people had given and the opinions that led to the understanding and the eventual conclusions that they arrived at regarding many political situations. Okay? Now, if you are a leader, this is the question, this is the cut I want to ask. What makes you think that the people you talk to will actually tell you what they really think?
The truth.
Yes. Well, what makes you think? So
Kangata may have actually sought the opinion of a couple of people, but those people...
What is the guarantee that they gave him? Okay, for instance, in the days before the handshake, when people from central Kenya saw the Right Honorable Raila as the devil incarnate. And the people from Luo Nyanza probably saw the leadership under Uhuru Kenyatta in a similar way, the devil incarnate times a certain factor. If you then went to each of these regions and asked someone's opinion about the other person, what do you think they would tell you?
What do you want to hear?
Precisely. Even if someone, say for instance, was a Jubilee supporter, Damu, do you really think if he was in the heart of Luo Nyanza then and you asked him, would he tell you he's a supporter of Jubilee?
So then why would people then lie to somebody whom they know directly is a supporter of BBI?
Put it this way. I am really throwing just the cat among the pigeons. This may be a pigeon-friendly cat, okay?
But it's a cat.
It's a cat nonetheless, and it may change its mind, okay?
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that in matters of seeking opinions, you are never really certain that what you're hearing is what the person
Is what
genuinely
the person thinks.
Yes.
Okay. Christian in Nairobi, good morning and Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year to you.
This Irungu Kangata letter,
right?
I think if you examine Irungu Kangata's career, I think he started off in 2007 as an MP.
He had started much earlier as a councillor, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that, but I've pretty much followed him up since 2013. Yeah, he's never been a controversial figure.
Yeah,
never makes controversial. You can't put him in the same class with the Oscar Sudis and Babu Owinos. You know, he's not a controversial figure.
Some would argue that during that whole standoff over the revenue share in the Senate, remember he was coming out to say, we shall then know who is for and who is against BBI with how they vote.
In fact, the people you've mentioned, I would argue that Kangata is not inflammatory because some of those people utter things that you're even afraid to read.
Yes.
Exactly. That's sort of the point I wanted to make.
Okay.
Yes. So he's more of a neutral figure. He couldn't even whip his members into that whole revenue sharing thing. And for that reason, he was chosen specifically to deliver this letter. If you examine that letter carefully, there's a part that I took note of. The point where they were talking about government should avoid using the provincial administration to push this BBI agenda. That is the handwriting of the intelligence circle. He could have simply talked about, this thing is not popular on the ground and all that, but I took note of that part of provincial administration. It clearly struck me as an intelligence report to the president, where the intelligence have told you, the ground is bad, and this idea of using government to push this thing, it's bad.
It's bad.
So what does Uhuru do? He looks for the most neutral person. He's not really Uhuru leaning. You can see he's a bit of a Ruto guy. You don't know where he stands. He throws the letter.
But I would have thought that one clearly knows where Kangata stands.
Is he really a part of a Ruto guy?
Oh yeah.
Remember, he benefited from the purge of Ruto people.
Yeah, but I mean, he barely benefits. What's a chief whip in government?
Actually,
it's not really.
My brother, it's like a missed goal. You know, if it hits the post, it isn't a goal. Eh? If it goes in because the wind pushed it into the goal, it's still a goal.
In my opinion, if you go back and check Kangata's statements in support of Ruto, the guy was a diehard Tanga guy before this whole. You can see he's not, and he's never been hostile towards the DP.
But that doesn't mean he's for. I mean, yes. I mean, remember, it's his demeanor. There are people who are not loud, but they have a point of view that they express probably gently. For instance, the former assistant deputy president, Mr. Musalia Mudavadi, is not a loud person.
Yes.
He's a fairly gentle and soft-spoken person. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a stand on issues, or doesn't mean that he doesn't have a perspective he likes to put across. That's just his manner. It's his nature.
He's a flip-flopper.
Or that is a flip-flopper. I mean, there are people who are loud and they have some valid things to say. There are people who are loud, and should we say we question the things that they have to say?
And there are people who are clearly flip-floppers.
Yes.
Evidently. If Kangata was not a flip-flopper, he would not have written that letter. He would have stuck to his guns. He would have been like, there's a guy I see called Dennis Owero, I think he's running for governor. I had Kieleweke guy. You cannot even convince him anything.
Thank you, Christian.
All right, thanks, guys.
Have a good day. Karanja in Naivasha.
Yes.
Hi, Karanja. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Eric and Cindy.
Very good to hear you, Karanja, this morning.
Yes.
What do you make of Irungo Kangata's letter?
First of all, Irungo Kangata, who is Irungo Kangata when we come to the multi-Kenya political figure? He has the more majority when he speaks, or he has the minority part. I think Irungo Kangata was not the right person to push the agenda for the BBI when we come to the multi-Kenya region. Another thing is that this issue of the BBI, it was a part of the Bomas draft constitution, which was done some time back. So 5% of the BBI was the one that was created within the instruments of the hardship. So to me, when people like Irungo Kangata want to go and bring the BBI to say, let's say yes for the BBI in Mount Kenya, he's not the right person.
He's the wrong person to do this.
Who would you say is the right person, sir, if I may ask?
Yes, the thing is, there are those political figures in Mount Kenya who can deliver.
Like who, for instance? That's what I'm asking. Who, for instance?
In Mount Kenya region.
Yes, the examples of people who actually you feel are qualified to issue such things. Who would you say are these people?
Yes, there are people. There are people like you see people like if somebody like Ichungwa could have been in BBI, he's the right person. We have the Moses Kuria, who is very good in that area. We have this guy called Kito, who was impeached. He was also the good person in Kenya everywhere. He can do better than Irungo Kangata.
So it's about their visibility and how loud they are.
Yes, how loud they are and how people like them. For instance, can you compare somebody Irungo Kangata and the Senator Keita, for instance? Senator Keita, he is good than Irungo Kangata, my friend. Yeah?
They're both elected.
They're all elected, actually.
And they got an overwhelming number of votes in their areas, actually. If you look at Irungo Kangata and his campaign for Senate, if you look at him and how he campaigned for his parliamentary seat, they basically get some good ground support.
He was liked, and yes. The people of Murang'a liked him.
We hear your point. We hear your point, Karanja. In your opinion, he's basically not the strongest person to be going championing.
No, I would say he's not the loudest person.
Loudest to be championing this. Anyway, thank you very much, Karanja. Robert in Kericho, good morning.
Hello.
Hi, Robert.
How are you, Mr. Sitimuka and Eric Lati?
We are very well, thank you, sir.
Robert.
Okay. I would like to comment on what Irungo Kangata is saying. Irungo Kangata is right. Even as in Gerijo here, BBI has nowhere to go.
Why?
Why? It's because it is not of any beneficial to common man. Yeah. So
is it that the people are opposed to the BBI because they have understood, they have read it, they have understood, and then they have weighed and seen no value? Or is it because of how it's being pushed by use of provincial administration or Ngao officers? Or is it because of the politics of Tangatanga and Kieleweke?
No, because of the way the politician is pushing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Let's go to Kisumu now, and George is there. Good morning, George.
Good morning, good friends. How are you doing?
We are well, thank you.
Well, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you
I'm
too.
good. Okay, thank you so much. I just want to air my opinion. Now, I first want to begin with this simple question. What if the result, as far as the information that was leaked out by Irungo Kangata is concerned, suppose the result were the other way around, as in he realized that after taking his data, he realized that the people from Mount Kenya were most probably were to vote the BBI. Would the information have leaked?
I don't know. What do you think?
It's a good question you've asked.
Yes,
You
because
think if it was
I
the
think
other
we
way
should-
around, if he had actually written to the
Yes.
president and said, this is the best thing since sliced bread to Mount Kenya, and everybody is actually waiting for that referendum, I wish it were to happen at the end of January so that we vote for it and we move on. You're saying that maybe the leakage would have been suppressed?
According to me, I think it would have been because let us just not ignore the fact that there is this hand of the Tanga team in this leakage. It must be, there is a probability that there might have been a leakage of the same information to the Tanga team shortly before it leaked out.
Okay.
So once they realized that the Irungu Kangata's data is reading this, and they said, "Oh, this is to our favor. So let us just let us just do some kind of tactic and make sure that it goes viral." Yes. So that to demoralize people. You know, remember, this is a
So it
a
first leaked
political
to
game.
Tanga and the Tanga. So this is like, you know, the best New Year's gift we have received. And they leaked it to the
Yes.
public.
They leaked it to the public.
Okay.
Now, and let me just wind by saying that, we all know the Mount Kenya people. Now, this is in public domain, and of course, everyone else in Kenya know what the Mount Kenya region is. Those guys are not very fast, especially when it comes to leaking their plans out to the general public. They'll always play it cool, and they know how to keep their horses. So according to me, I just want to say, as a Kenyan citizen who has been here for the last few decades, I've actually been following politics of Kenya. The Mount Kenya region will not tell you what you think they've told you. If they tell you this, just try
Take
to
it with a
look
pinch
at
of salt.
it, and they are a pinch of salt. Yeah, there is some underlying issue behind it.
Thank you, George. Thank you, George, and have
Yes,
a
yes.
good day.
And
Thank you very much for participating into that conversation. Let's see, what happens now that the letter has come out and the president has been given his advice. CT, let's conclude with today's proverb.
Let your love be like the misty rain coming softly, but flooding the river. Consider for a single second the benefits of rain. Consider for a single second the benefits of excess rain. People tend to associate excess rain with torrents. And when torrents fall, they anticipate disaster, which is associated with floods. But when it rains gently, that is the last thing on your mind.
Yeah.
It's just a pleasant blessing. Take your mind to anything that you think of, whether it's a political statement, whether it is a domestic situation, anything that literally is spoken of softly. It has an interpretation.
Be gentle.
Yes,
Don't
but
be overwhelming.
a disastrous outcome is never the interpretation of something that is approached gently. Hardly ever.
All right.
When someone is soft-spoken, people think they're weak, they're not factual, they're not. Torrent is loud. And so it's associated with disaster.
Okay. Message home. Thank you very much. See you again tomorrow, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here in the Situation Room. Hopefully, Nduoko will be joining us. CT Muga and Eric Latif wishing you a lovely day. Uninterrupted music coming now until 3 o'clock, and then Spice Drive, and then the adults in the room later on at 7 to 10. Good morning, and have a lovely day.
Spice up your life